Hello, everybody. This video is going to be um, about peer review. It shouldn't last too long. It's only 5 slides, and one of them is the title slide. So, what is a peer review? A peer review is essentially a system psychology has in place to make sure that all pieces of research kind of done under the name of psychology are reputable, they're original, they're strong pieces of research, there's no plagiarism, they're methodologically sound. And so all pieces of research go through what we call the peer review process. So I just want to show you something actually. If I go to, and you may know this already, but if I go to Google Scholar is a database for loads of pieces of research. If I type in depression, let's have a look, depression treatment or something, and I use these kind of links on the side. So let's make sure we've got a journal. This is just an article called Research and Treatment Approaches in Depression. What we've got here is a journal article. It will have oh my days, what have I done? It will have an abstract just here, and then it will have basically a lot of stats, a lot of research, so on and so forth. And then it will have kind of a discussion later on. So this is what we mean. Now, you don't just do a piece of research and put it out into the world and everybody reads it. It has to go through a peer review process before it gets published in a journal. So as it says here, the peer review process is designed to assess the validity, the quality, and often the originality of articles, so you're not copying other people's work. And its ultimate purpose is to maintain the integrity of science by filtering out invalid or poor quality articles. So any discipline, any field that has a peer review process is probably going to be, it certainly is made more scientific by the fact it has a peer review cycle. 84% of researchers believe that without peer review, there would be no control in scientific communication. Peer review is the central pillar of trust for researchers. 9 out of 10 researchers feel that peer review process improves the quality of their paper. And from a publisher's perspective, peer review, and by the way, publisher of articles, of these journal articles that people put out there, you want articles coming through that are scientific, they're methodologically strong. Some people can do poor research. So where do you actually publish these pieces of research? That article I showed you, where do you publish it? You publish them in a psychology journal. So there are tens, maybe even hundreds of psychology journals. You've got here the British Journal of Clinical Psychology. You've got here the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology, one of my personal favorite journals when I was at uni. I used that one quite a lot. You have loads of journals. Now, say you're doing a piece of research into personality types and how personality types affect addiction. Say you want to publish that, you will pick certain journals to send that work off to. So you might want to send them to this journal just here, for example, this Journal of Personality and Social Psychology. The editor of this journal will get maybe three, maybe four independent psychologists in the field to look over your work and comment on the validity of it, the accuracy of it. Is it a good piece of research? And they will basically tell you to either they accept your submission, which is fantastic. They send the submission back to you and ask you to make some changes. And they will reject your submission outright. One thing that's worth pointing down is that the peer review process takes around about 1 year, right? So when you publish it, if you are successful, your article will probably come out with about a year later after the whole peer review process. So one thing you do need to know are the purposes and the processes. Purposes are why you do it. The processes are how you do it. So in terms of why you do it because psychology wants to continue to strive to be scientific, and having a peer review process absolutely helps that. Failure to peer review means people can publish wild claims and findings without being checked for validity. This happened a few years ago when Dr. Andrew Wakefield made a link between autism and getting the MMR jab, the measles, mumps, rubella jab. Now, there is absolutely no link whatsoever, and about 1,000 pieces of research have found this since. There's no link whatsoever between getting the MMR jab and getting autism. But his work wasn't properly peer reviewed, and now he's the reason why we have anti-vaxxers, largely, by the way. He's the reason why we have anti-vaxxers. Now, if you're an I do understand you're not wanting to put things into your body that you haven't checked, and I totally get that. But you shouldn't, if you are an anti-vaxxer, you should not base your opinion on Dr. Wakefield's piece of research, because it was actually a very poor piece of research, and 1,000 pieces of research since have found no link between MMR and and autism. So peer review is supposed to catch poor pieces of research, methodologically unrobust pieces of research, and this is what it didn't actually do for Andrew Wakefield's. It was flawed research. It was hugely biased sample. Methodologically, it was quite weak, and it got past the peer review process. So you want that peer review process to be pretty robust. You also want to ensure the accuracy of the findings, and also to make sure that plagiarism does not exist in the work. Are they copying someone else's work? Now, in terms of how it actually happens, a little bit more here. Independent researchers in the field, usually 3 of them, will receive a copy of the proposed manuscript, the proposed article that you've written. They check for the validity, the significance, and the originality of it. By significance, what we mean is, is it actually groundbreaking? Is it actually a good piece of research? Is it going to cause waves in the field, or is it really boring, really, loads of people have done this kind of thing? As I said, reviewers can accept the manuscript as it is, accept it on the basis of revisions being made, or they can completely reject it from being published. If your aim is to be a published author in the future, you get your little name on top of the on the article, you're probably going to have to put up with some rejection to begin with. But it is the editor of the journal who has the final call about whether or not to accept the manuscript. That is literally it for peer review. That's literally it. So to review peer review is essentially it is a something. What am I thinking? It is a system in place whereby independent researchers will read your piece of work before you have it actually published. That is literally it. So you need to know the purposes and the processes of peer review, because you could get a 6 marker on it.